Hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about the 100 Colors of Africa campaign by Dove and a little bit about the company. It was founded by its parent company Unilever because they wanted to find a new marketplace outside of the post-World War II Europe. And it was introduced in the United States in 1957 with the new beauty cleansing bar. Later, in 2004, Dove came with a new campaign called Real Beauty that was going to change the way they advertise their products from then to now. The campaign featured images of real women and its advertising to represent a broader image of beauty. Now, the brand has manufacturers in 26 countries.
So Dove's mission is we believe beauty should be a source of confidence and not anxiety. That's why we're here to help women everywhere develop a positive relationship with the way they look, helping them raise their self-esteem and realize their full potential. Through the Dove Self-Esteem Project, they turn that vision into a mission. So through this project, Dove ensures that the next generation grows up enjoying a positive relationship with the way they look and to use self-esteem education to help young children realize their full potential. So far, they've reached 60 million young people with the self-esteem education and are aiming to reach 1.4 billion to build a positive body image by 2030. So the values at Dove are encouraging positive body confidence and promoting individual beauty. We can see that depicted through this ad where it features real women rather than models.
And so for the situation, Dove saw an opportunity in Africa because it has bold and bright fashion. So they wanted to demonstrate that their Dove Invisible Dry deodorant doesn't stain up to 100 colors, and they wanted to do that in a way that was locally and relevant. So what do they did? They partnered with Rich Factory, an African contemporary fashion house, to design a bespoke 100 color fabric to celebrate the rich, diverse, and colorful continent of Africa.
So South Africa has a sort of long and complicated history, but just to breeze through it, despite the fact that the Portuguese had passed the continent in the 15th century, it wasn't until 1652 where the Dutch East India founded a trade port in Cape Town. They did not have any intention to colonize. However, if you go to the next slide, you'll see that in 1658 they fought several wars, and then in 1688 it expanded after the French Huguenots arrived to flee religious persecution. The natives were essentially getting wiped out, and then it had exchanged hands several times between the British and the Dutch. So by 1806, the British had complete rule over South Africa. Next slide, please. However, in 1931, South Africa became fully sovereign from the UK, and then the National Party came into power in 1948. That's when we see apartheid, which was segregation legally enforced in the country. However, in 1994, this ended after several decades of resistance and international intervention. We had the first universal elections, and Nelson Mandela was elected president. So you can see through this history, you've had a lot of people passing through South Africa, which has really contributed to the multi-ethnic and multiculturalism in the area. And this has contributed also to the languages. We have currently 11 official languages in South Africa, which really have contributed to the economic and political factors that we'll see in the next few slides.
So, as part of the political aspect of South Africa, it is a democracy and parliamentary republic. However, it differs from other nations in that it has a national, provincial, and local executive and legislative authority. The Freedom House Democracy Index considers South Africa as a constitutional democracy, and it has been like this since the end of the apartheid in 1994. It is ranked as a 79 out of 100, and it has a corruption perception index of 70 out of 180, and it scored a 44 out of 100.
So as for the economic factors, the economic freedom score of South Africa is 58.8, making it the 106th freest in the 2020 index. So as you guys can see from the graph, the score has increased on a zero point 0.5 point due to its higher integrity score, but yet it still remains mostly unfree in 2020. So it took a really, the GDP took a really big dip, in 2009, and ever since has just been decreasing significantly. So the GDP growth has been weak the last 5 years, and what the governmental entities have discovered is that to increase economic freedom, the government needs to pursue stricter applications of rules against anti-competitive behavior. So as you guys can see from this table, some of the factors that affect this anti-competitive behavior are such things as like business freedoms and labor freedom, which are decreasing. So the government needs to get a stronger hold on that, so then it could be more economically free. So as for South Africa's economy in general, it is a highly developed economy and it has advanced infrastructure. So it is the world's largest exporter of gold, platinum, and other natural resources. And it has very well established systems, whether it be financial, legal, communications, and more, as you guys can see in the chart, making their finance stand at its highest with a 21%. So for environmental factors, South Africa is derived as a very masculine society. So as Fatimah mentioned, African National Congress did dominate publics with the apartheid in 1994. And what was the most shocking part was that the Constitution of South Africa in 1996 was the first time that women were really recognized as equal citizens. So this, as we are going to discuss further into the campaign, was very important to stand for like women empowerment with the 100 colors of Africa, because it was so recent that women were considered equal. Another environmental factor, it is that South Africa is a very indulgent society. It has a really high score of 63, and they're willing to realize their impulses and desires and enjoy life and just have fun. So this the higher degree of importance on leisure time was why the 100 colors of Africa was so successful, because they were willing to take that opportunity and even made a capsule collection possible, which we will discuss further.
So in terms of the media system in South Africa, the Freedom of Press Index ranks South Africa as the 31 in the world. And South Africa 1996 constitution protects the freedom of the press. However, apartheid era laws that are still in place till this day limit the press coverage on certain issues such as the African National Congress, government finances, and the redistribution of land to Black population. It also is ranked as 70 out of 100 on the freedom on the net, and it has a literacy rate of 94.37% as of 2015. It also has a media penetration rate of 37% and an internet penetration rate of 62% with 36.54 million internet users.
As for Hofstede's cultural dimensions, there are four that stood out, which is low uncertainty avoidance with a score of 49. So South Africa has more of a relaxed attitude with no more rules than necessary and very flexible schedules. Also, as I mentioned before, they are high in masculinity with a score of 63. They're a society that's driven in competition, achievement, and their success is defined by a specific winner. They are also highly indulgent society with a score of 63. They have, again, willingness to realize their impulses and desires. And lastly, the power distance is at a 49, meaning that people accept hierarchical order and their ideal boss is a benevolent autocrat.
So the primary audience of this campaign is targeting women in South Africa, regardless of their age, body size, or ethnicity. The secondary audience, which is Dove's original primary group, are everyday women across the globe between the ages of 18 to 35. This is the age group that are more inclined to purchase beauty and self-care products. So moving to the demographics, there are about 30 million women living in South Africa alone. Like I mentioned previously, age 18 to 35 are the ones that are more inclined to purchase products like Dove. With this campaign, the psychographics of the target audience would be women who love to express themselves and their culture by wearing bold colors. But these same women are also the ones who are very anxious around staining their clothes with deodorant. And looking at the goals and objectives, the main goal of this campaign is to give women the confidence to wear bold colors without the anxiety of having white marks or deodorant stains on their favorite clothes. And the objectives are to empower women in South Africa to wear more of the colors that they love, bring confidence to the women, and more representation of everyday women in the media, as well as celebrating African culture overall. In 2018, Dove collaborated with Rich Factory, which is an African contemporary fashion and lifestyle brand, to design a 100-color fabric to celebrate the bold colors that African women love to wear in their culture. So Dove took a local approach by bringing awareness on their new Invisible Dry deodorant making a fashion show with 100 color fabric with Rich Factory. And then visible dry deodorant is proven to leave no white marks, which we'll talk about in the next few slides. So the strategies and tactics, the two strategies is Dove working directly with a local designer, as well as creating a fashion show to give women the confidence to wear bold colors. The tactics are broken down into three main tactics. The first one was to create a bold print and colored fabric for a runway show. So they directly worked with an African contemporary brand for women. So they're really localizing this. And they also showcase unique clothes and accessories that embody African culture and tradition. The next tactic was they brought in Nomzamo Mubatha, she's a famous model in South Africa, and she's also a Dove deodorant campaign partner. And she was the one that modeled the unique fabric and dresses during the fashion show, as well as wearing the invisible dry deodorant to show its capabilities. And then next is they launched a limited edition capsule collection with unique accessories for women in Africa to pair with their bold outfits. And they made it accessible for women across the continent, as well as gifting some to influencers to share on their social media and to share with their audience. So the key messaging for this campaign is Africa is a colorful continent where women wear bright, bold colors to express themselves through fashion every day. The senior public relations managers of Unilever Beauty stated that we believe in beauty as a source of confidence and not anxiety. What better way to represent women as they are than by allowing them to take part in the continent's biggest fashion showcase, enhancing the celebration of Africa and real beauty in a way that is bold and daring.
As their communication tools, Dove and Rich Factory relied on social media to promote this campaign and communicate the key messages, which were to celebrate Africa's culture with this new 100-color fabric and to advocate for the inclusion of a diverse range of people in all campaigns. Both parties involved used platforms such as Facebook and Instagram to announce the partnership, share information about the Fashion Week event, and continue to promote the 100 Colors of Africa hashtag through its initial phase in 2018 and its accelerated phase in 2019. This included social media posts from Dove, Rich Factory, and the African Fashion International accounts, as well as ongoing advertising and digital marketing tactics on said social media. The campaign also relied on media channels such as magazines like Glamour South Africa to announce both phases and ongoing news about the 100 Colors of Africa campaign. The use of social media also extended to the search and identification of models and influencers who represented women on the runway. These first posts were published by Dove and Rich Factory to announce their partnership and involvement in the African Fashion International Week. Rich Factory also published several posts encouraging people to participate in giveaways to incentivize attendance to the event. Both accounts also posted about their 2019 accelerated campaign, which announced the Capsule collection with all the versions of the 100 Colors of Africa print and its availability to purchase. These media coverage posts announced the Capsule collection and gave insight into the campaign from Dove representatives who are actually wearing the black and white and the pastel prints in the interview. Lastly, these posts show the model search that Rich Factory started and influencer involvement during the campaign and the fashion event.
Using the circuit of cultural analysis framework, we take a look at this campaign in 6 different aspects. The first being production. So moving on to the next slide, we see that Dove partnered with Rina Chunga Kutama of Rich Factory, which is a young local designer, to develop a now easily distinguishable 100-color fabric, making sure that it not only showcased Dove as a brand, but celebrated African culture. Using mud cloth or Bogolanfini print from Mali, one of the oldest civilizations of the world, as inspiration, Chunga Kutama's creation for Rich Factory honors the traditional brown and indigo tones of the culture with a modern and colorful touch. Moving on to representation, we see that this fabric or dress was revealed at the Africa Fashion International Fashion Week in 2018, and it was worn by Dove Deodorant's campaign partner, who is also an African actress and influencer, Nomzamo Mobata. This campaign was then expanded in 2019, where Dove and Rich Factory led a model search where they were able to get some consumers to model some of the new pieces on the runway, broadening the range of the image of beauty that we see in mainstream media. On top of that, a capsule collection was created where some of those pieces were sent to influencers beyond South Africa's borders, so it expanded the collection throughout the continent. Moving on to consumption, this campaign has gained significant media attention. As you can see, it has a high engagement rate of 5.88%. On top of that, the capsule collection, which was composed of 3 statement pieces, a pencil skirt, an infinity dress, and a shift dress in 3 different fabric colors. So different iterations of the fabric in different color palettes were created so that everyday women could have these pieces in their closets and wear them more often. Moving on to the next slide, we see that this campaign primarily was to promote Dove Invisible Dry in a locally relevant way. But on top of that, its identity lies in its power to acknowledge the need for representation of all women in mainstream media. This was shown by their efforts in their model search, where they had women of all shapes and sizes model their clothing. The significance then moves on to the fact that most of the proceeds, or actually all of the proceeds of the sale of the capsule collection, were donated to the Design Indaba Emerging Creatives Program, which is a developmental platform for young creatives who have relatively little industry exposure. For regulation, what this campaign combated was the fact that women cannot be what they cannot see, and representation in media matters. So there's a strict standard of beauty that gets presented way too often in the media, ignoring a big part of the reality of what we see every day. So to combat this, Dove launched this campaign, but on top of that, they launched a project called #ShowUs. Moving on to the evaluation of this campaign, as I said, the campaign was successful, so much so that it was extended from 2019 to 2018. It gained significant media attention and press coverage, and as it was extended in 2019, it was infused with elements to drive awareness, excitement, and engagement, and to continue the conversation around the campaign. These elements included the model search, different iterations of the fabric, capsule collection, new color palettes, to continue the impact that this campaign had started in 2018. To this day, the campaign is still relevant as it's used largely in Dove's social media content. And recently, they had Rina Chunga Kutama, the designer of Rich Factory, host masterclasses about fashion to teach people about the industry from an insider's perspective. Also, due to high demand, the limited edition capsule collection came to be. And as we saw several social media posts, a lot of the comments were very positive. A lot of the feedback was very good. And a lot of women were able to get their hands on these pieces in much more wearable fashion.
As for reactions, the campaign #100 Colors of Africa continued the conversation of normalizing the representation of everyday women in the media, empowering women to post photos of themselves wearing bright colors for a chance to win tickets to the 2019 Africa International Fashion Week event. As mentioned before, the success of this campaign also led to Dove's launch of the Show Us project to emphasize the brand's commitment to ensure that all women were represented in mainstream media. This project also challenged controversial stereotypes of beauty by including a model search, inviting women to participate in the show, and gave lucky consumers the opportunity to wear the new pieces on the runway. The campaign also expanded beyond South Africa, and by using influencers across the continent to showcase the new pieces in the distinguished fabric on their social media accounts. And this continued the campaign well into 2019. Lastly, Rich Factory also posted on their Instagram that they received a great response once the Dove pieces were launched and available in store, and this confirmed the public affinity to the entire campaign.
As for critiques for the campaign, there weren't many. It got such a positive response that all that we could compile was just like the reactions to the new lines and like after the fashion show itself. For instance, on the post to the left, Rich Factory mentions that they finally released the capsule collection due to very high demand. You can see in the examples of the comments, for example, it says, "So freaking beautiful, amazing, thanks for giving the people what they wanted." So on the post to the right, you could see that they did a review of one of the looks of the fashion show, and people from other places of the world, such as America, were asking if they could buy the products, and were saying positive comments such as "absolutely stunning" and "this is everything." So as you guys can see, the 100 Colors of Africa had a very, very positive impact, not just in South Africa, but worldwide.
So to finalize, we see that Dove saw an opportunity to localize its invisible deodorant in a way that was relevant to South Africa colorful culture. Through an effective research, they brought attention to the brand in a different way. They partnered with a local clothing brand to make the message culturally relevant and creating a clothing line in partnership with Rich Factory to tie it to Dove's deodorant that doesn't stain up to 100 colors. And it also had such a positive response that it led to the extension of the limited collection. However, even though the campaign was successful and received a lot of positive feedback, we noticed that the campaign was not promoted as much through Dove's platform. So we suggest that going further, this campaign should be advertised more by Dove to bring more exposure to these initiatives. Some of the key takeaways of this campaign is that Dove demonstrated the importance of finding the right representation to amplify its message. It also kept a two-way communication channels and responded to the audience's demands, such as extending the availability of the limited clothing line, and had an effective implementation of localization. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching.